All right, so Houston is gigantic and can be daunting even for native Houstonians. So this large outer loop is 99, the next one is Beltway 8, and then the smaller one is Loop 610 or in the loop or inner loop. That's where we'll be spending all of our time today. So we're zooming in even further into Loop 610. So there's downtown. Zooming in further to our favorite beautiful green blob that is Memorial Park and this adjacent community called Crestwood/Glencove. So it's 3 miles from Memorial Park to downtown on Memorial Drive. This is Memorial Park again. This is Buffalo Bayou. The bayou runs all the way into the center of downtown and beyond. And so we're going to be entering off of Memorial Drive up Crestwood, and I'm going to take you in all of these streets here. This is Glencove. There's a small gated community right here that we're going to also be taking a look at, which I'll note very well. We're also taking a look at Brenner's on the Bayou. And then there's a little shopping center that we'll take a run through because I have to drop something off at UPS. And this color-coded map is off of the Crestwood HOA site. So here's Memorial Park, Crestwood, Glencove, and then Crestwood again. This is a gated community that we're also going to run through Memorial Drive up to Crestwood. And then I'm going to be taking you all through all of these streets and showing you all of the big, beautiful houses. And it's important to note that Rice Military is really close but completely different. That's Camp Logan, which we've already run through, and then this is that Washington Westcott roundabout. And the Clay family Eastern Glades is what this community is in a very short walking distance to. It's absolutely gorgeous, really at any season. Here we're driving eastbound on Memorial Drive, and we're going to be turning up Crestwood Drive to get into Crestwood/Glencove. This big modern white farmhouse at the corner of Crestwood Drive and Memorial Drive always wows me. It's gorgeous and I admire it every time I drive by. Now, Crestwood Drive marks between Memorial Park and the neighborhood, and these houses situated on Crestwood are so lucky because they have one of the best views in all of Houston. They've been working on this big modern one for quite some time, and I actually remember the old house that used to be there before they demoed it. And on our left there is the grand entrance to the Clay family Eastern Glades, which you can just walk on into from Blossom. We're still going north on Crestwood. So the land that was used for the Crestwood and the Glencove development also came from the Hogg family, which you've heard me speak about the Hogg family in previous videos. They gave the land for Camp Logan, and after World War II came to an end around 1925, the land was taken back by the Hogg family and then divvied up partial to the city of Houston for Memorial Park, and then the others for development. The Hogg family also developed River Oaks. So as we drive through the beautiful streets of Crestwood/Glencove, let me take a moment to just gush about this gorgeous neighborhood. So this part of the loop is really gorgeous. It's got all of these old growth trees, at least old for Houston. Now, I did an in-depth video about Camp Logan, which is directly north of this community, and I love Camp Logan as well. And Crestwood and Glencove they have much larger lot sizes, but it's a similar, very tight-knit community feel. Now, while they are basically next door neighbors to each other, they are very different at the same time. So the average lot size in Camp Logan is about 2,500 square feet for the lot. And the price ranges is anywhere from like 900 to the low threes, maybe on a good day. Now, if you go just over one street, you get to the Crestwood and Glencove area. The average lot size jumps to 9,000 square feet and above, and the average price range an equal jump as the current lot value averages at about 1.6 million. Going all the way up to over 6 million currently. I'm making this video in May of 2025. The old lot value in the last few years used to be closer to 1.4, but like everything else, we have seen a massive jump. We are back at the Crestwood and Blossom intersection, and I'm taking you on all of the interior streets now. Rough overview of the last 365 days of market time here in the neighborhood. There are currently 8 houses active on the market, with one being a lot. They range anywhere from 1.7 to 6.5, with one adorable townhome in the $425,000 range, which we're going to actually walk by, and I'll point that out when we get there. There are 8 sold in the last 365 days. 2 were lots. These lots were in the 1.6 range, and the single family homes range anywhere from about $1 million to $5.7 million, with the lower end being on the smaller lots, or they're being sold as a teardown. With the very few sales that have occurred in the last 365 days, only 8 currently on the market, only 8 sold. I'm sure you can use your own deductive reasoning that there's not a ton of turnover in the Crestwood and Glencove area, and when something very well priced comes on the market, it's generally sold and sometimes over list price. Now, if the house is very custom and it's overpriced just a tad, it's going to sit some time. But generally, when these houses come on the market, they do sell relatively quickly in relation to the luxury market. This is a pretty long neighborhood tour for a relatively small community, but I wanted to be very thorough and drive and video all of the streets for you, because chances are, if you've made it this far in the video, you're really researching on the areas that you want to focus on when you come to Houston to house hunt. So you're probably relocating from another area in Texas or another state. Now, Houston is absolutely gargantuan and can be pretty daunting when trying to understand the lay of the land. There's constant road work, there's constant construction. Right now, there is a high-rise going up on the other side of Memorial Drive. Houston is ever-changing and ever-evolving, so you can't always say one blanket statement about one specific area. The White House on the right-hand side we just passed is actually currently on the market for about $3 million. We are now back on Memorial Drive, turning back into the neighborhood to cover a couple more streets that we have not yet covered. And on the right-hand side, we're passing a lot that's on the market for $6.5 million. It's about 18,000 square feet of lot. Now, that $6.5 million does include plans and construction of a house. And as we drive, you'll notice some of these much smaller little bitty houses that have been there since the 40s. That's a great example of what I was talking about earlier, that lot value or houses being sold with the assumption they'll be torn down, like this one right here. These houses are worth anywhere from about $990 to $1.7 million, just depending on the size of the lot. So if it's over 10,000 square feet, it'll be closer to the $1 million price point. If it's over 10,000 square feet and above, that's when we start to go closer to the $1.6 or $7 million price range. Now, if you are ever at a loss for front gardening ideas, all you need to do is drive through Camp Logan, Crestwood, or River Oaks, and ideas abound. I want to show you this beautiful Japanese maple that I was absolutely coveting during my drive. Look how gorgeous it is. Those things are very finicky and hard to get to thrive here in the extreme Houston heat and sun. We're passing more of these original 1940s houses, which would have been what the entire neighborhood would have looked like in the 40s. We are now finishing up in the section of the neighborhood that is north of Memorial Drive. Now we are headed down Memorial Drive just a little bit, and we are going to check out Glencove and Crestwood on the south side of Memorial. And just a moment of respect for this beautiful 1946 mid-century modern house that was before its time when it was built on Memorial Drive. We are taking a little detour in a semi-gated community called Arlington Terrace. These houses were built in the early to late 90s and they range in price from 1.2 to 1.8. And in the last 365 days, there are only 2 sold records. There are currently 2 actives on the market and there are 1 pending when I've made this video in May of 2025. Our highest sale price is in the 1.7 range and our lowest priced active listing is at 1.275. And again, I told you the landscaping was particularly beautiful in this pocket of town. Arlington Terrace is a pretty small micro community, so we've just about seen it all, and we are headed back out of the neighborhood, back onto Memorial Drive, where we'll take a look at the rest of Crestwood and Glencove. We're approaching the same intersection in which we originally entered Crestwood at the beginning of the video. We're right by that beautiful white modern farmhouse, and we're turning south again, and we're passing Arlington Terrace, and we're going on the south side of Crestwood, and the lots are really interesting down here. These lots range in square footage size from 6,600 to over 58,000 square feet of just lot size. And a lot of these houses you can't even see from the road because they're behind gates and large mature trees. And if you thought there was low turnover in the north side of Crestwood, this has even lower turnover. I pulled sales records for the last 1,000 days, which is close to 3 years, and there are only 7 records. There is 1 active on the market, and it was just marked pending after only 1 day on the market. This community of brown brick townhomes is absolutely spectacular, and out of the last 1,000 days, only 1 has sold, but 1 is currently coming soon on the market as of May 28th, 2025. I can't wait to see what it sells at. It's priced at $425, and I think it's going to go really quickly. I think these townhomes are spectacular because of the front yard view. Of course, it's not exactly your front yard, but you look directly out onto the bayou. I mean, you cannot get closer to nature in Houston than this, my friends. It's lush, it's magical, it's Garden of Eden-esque, and if I could live here, I totally would. We are once again headed back out to Memorial Drive to run a couple errands. I'm going to show you a beautiful restaurant in the neighborhood. I'm sure you've noticed that Memorial Drive is a major thoroughfare within the loop. It takes you all the way downtown and it takes you back over to Loop 610. So I have personally lived in this area for 5.5 years and I really appreciate the amenities available. Now let's go back to a map view to get our bearings again. So we've been spending some time north of Memorial Drive and south of Memorial Drive, but now you see where Brenner's on the Bayou is over there. It's this gorgeous restaurant, which we'll see in a moment. It has beautiful Bayou views. You can see how close it is on the map. And then we're going to go to this little shopping center where we need to make a return. You drive down because we're going closer to Buffalo Bayou. That's, by the way, why Houston is called the Bayou City, is because of all of our bayous, and the main one is Buffalo Bayou, which Brenner's on the Bayou sits on Buffalo Bayou. They have a super cool bar called Blue Bar, which is still part of the restaurant, but the restaurant is a really nice steakhouse feel. And Blue Bar is this amazing deck space that looks over the bayou. And where we're going down here, this is actually a very new addition. This didn't used to be here a couple years ago. I have been here many, many, many times over the last 12 years. They have a big wine festival once or twice a year. I've been to engagement parties. I've had group dinners here. I've had girls' happy hours. I've stopped in for a quick cocktail and a bite while I'm enjoying the Azalea Trail. And if you're in the area, I highly recommend you try out Brenner's, not to be confused with Brennan's. Brenner's on the Bayou is a much different restaurant than Brennan's of Houston, so be aware of that. Punching in your location to Google Maps. We're passing the back end of a construction site where they're putting up a new high-rise on the Bayou. Now, these smaller houses are not considered Crestwood and Glencove, but are very close. This is a great little shopping area for the whole area. It has a UPS, Smoothie King, and Starbucks, which I greatly appreciate because I have to go to UPS all the time. Now, as far as restaurants, living in this area, I always preferred going down to the Montrose area or perhaps like Galleria or the Heights, but this Mary's Kitchen Persian place is really good, so I do recommend that. We are back on the westbound side of Memorial Drive, and we are going to go west all the way to 610, where it will dump us out at one of the busiest intersections in all of Houston. We're passing by Memorial Park again and under the Kinder Land Bridge, which I featured in a different video. The Kinder Land Bridge was recently completed within the last 2.5 years, and it's a wonderful addition to our beautiful city of Houston. And my friends, this does conclude our in-depth driving tour of the Crestwood and Glencove areas of Houston, Texas, right by Memorial Park. I hope you learned something. I hope you love it as much as I do. And as always, if you have any questions, leave a comment or reach out to me, email me, find me on Instagram. And if you're moving to Houston, I would love the opportunity to earn your business.